Hey guys, the Fed's urgent warning is to stop spending so much and save more. Now, have you noticed? The help wanted signs are starting to slowly but surely come down. Now, don't get me wrong, right? Employers aren't just all of a sudden ripping those help wanted signs away and saying, hey, we don't need any more help right now. We're not hiring anymore. That's not happening, but it's happening slowly but surely. And we just got another indicator that the unemployment rate is increasing. So start saving your money if you haven't already been doing that, and start making sure you have some type of emergency fund in place in case you lose your job, because unemployment is going to be going up. Now, I've been saying that right here on this channel for months, guys, because the ultimate result of increased rates and a slowdown of spending is going to be unemployment. So that means jobs have to fall if we see or when we see inflation come down. And so the labor market has to loosen up. So hey guys, it's coming. We just got another good sign that the unemployment rate is ultimately going to go up. We just got that good sign just a couple of days ago. And it's a good sign for the Fed and for inflation to come down, but it may be a bad sign for Americans with jobs because the labor force is going to be affected. Now, what is that sign that we just got? Well, just a couple of days ago, we got an indicator that showed that the available jobs for the month of February has dropped to 9.93 million. Now, that number of 9.93 million available jobs, that's the lowest amount of available jobs since May of 2021. So for almost 2 years, guys, we haven't seen this type of indicator about available jobs. And that's according to the Department of Labor statistics. This 9.93 million available jobs is less than what economists had been predicting. So it basically means, guys, that employers are starting to slow down on their hiring. It means they're not doing all that scrambling that they were doing for workers out there. Another key indicator is that new hires, the amount of new hires is down as well. The amount of new hires is down from 6.3 million the previous month to 6.1 million now. And the final indicator that we got that was very important was the available jobs per job seeker number. Now, at one point, that was at 1.9. Now it's only at 1.7. Now, what I mean when I say available jobs per job seeker is that at one point there were 1.9 jobs available for every one person seeking a job. Now that number's only at 1.7 jobs available for every one person seeking a job. Now, it probably doesn't sound like much, right? 1.9 to 1.7, but it's huge in the eyes of the Federal Reserve for their fight to bring down inflation to their target 2% rate, because it shows that the job market is starting to loosen up and that the labor market is starting to give a little bit, just a little bit. And it basically means, guys, that the demand for workers is starting to sort of come into balance with the supply of available workers, right? At one point, we had 1.9 jobs for every one worker. Now we got 1.7 jobs for every one worker. That means that these two are starting to balance out, right? And that's why we see a decrease in the number of new hires, and we see this decrease of available jobs. Now, the most important question is, what does that mean for you? And we'll talk about that in just a moment. Before I get to that, I want to tell you guys this. As you may know, the unemployment rate went from 3.4% to last month, it was at 3.6%. Now, guys, I believe that the next reading we'll see on the unemployment rate is going to show an even higher unemployment rate. And we'll know that in just about a day or two from now. The next monthly report from the Labor Department is coming out in just a day or so. Now, why do I expect unemployment to increase? Well, again, because things appear to be moving back in balance, right? And when I say back in balance, again, I'm talking about the supply and the demand of workers. We see available jobs going down. We see the amount of new hires going down. And we see the available jobs per job seeker going down. All that is an indication that unemployment will go up slightly. And higher unemployment is a key sign that inflation will ultimately go down to their targeted 2%. Now, we also know that the Fed's increased federal funds rate has had a major impact on the housing market, which has slowed significantly. We know it's also had an impact on manufacturing, also on technology. And we've seen a lot of technology, especially larger technology companies, laying off a lot of workers already. And part of those large layoffs were because of demand for goods and services slowing down. And These tech companies and now some other larger companies beginning to brace themselves for what they think is ultimately going to be a recession in the last half of this year. Really large, established companies, they typically try to get ahead of the curve when it comes to their labor supply. Right? So when we start seeing them laying off workers, it's because they're either forced to or they see something coming down the road that tells them we need to lay off some workers. Now listen, more important unemployment data and stats are coming out in the next day or so those will be interesting to keep our eyes on. We're going to see stats on recent job cuts, weekly first-time unemployment claims, and of course the big one, which is the jobs report itself. Now I also want to mention this, guys. Just a couple of days ago, the Federal Reserve Bank of Cleveland president came out and said, hey, inflation remains too high, inflation remains stubborn, the usual talking points that they have when they want to push a point. Now, as we know, the Federal Reserve is as much propaganda as it is anything else, right? They have to all be in sync because over the course of several weeks, in between the Fed's meetings, a lot of the Fed chairs come out and give speeches or they're invited to speak at certain functions, and they all have to be on the same accord when they are actually giving these public talks. And so a couple of days ago, when I heard the recent remarks from the Cleveland Fed chair, it just told me, okay, she's in line with what Federal Chair Jerome Powell has been saying about the tightening of the economy and the need to continue with these rate hikes. It's just more reiteration that they're going to keep raising rates as much as they have to in order to get to their 2% target inflation rate. Right? The Fed is as much a PR firm as it is anything else, guys. They have to actually kind of be all on one accord and be saying the same thing, be in sync, and keep putting out the same message from Fed chair to Fed chair from all 10 districts, right? Now, with that said, I also want to say this. Experts have been predicting, and they're still predicting, that unemployment rates are probably going to go near the 5% mark by the end of this year. Now, that's a long way from 3.6%. But again, I think it starts with the jobs report that's going to come out in the next day or so. The unemployment is going up from the 3.6% mark it was at last month. And again, that could mean millions of jobs lost. So here's what I want you guys to do and think about. Be paying attention to what's going on with the federal rate hikes and the unemployment reports. And start saving some money. Stop spending so much money and start making sure you have some cash reserves, something you can pull from in case of an emergency, such as a job loss, right, or unemployment. You've got to be stashing away some cash so that you can pull on something if your job is cut or your job is lost, right? You may be in one of those volatile industries where things go crazy and you get layoffs or you're in commission sales and whatever it may be, right? Now, if you're a teacher or you work for the federal government or you're a nurse or something that's real stable like that, you don't have to worry as much, right? But if you're not in those type of fields, you would be wise to go ahead and make sure you're saving more cash, more money right now. And if you're an investor, be watching what's happening with the stock market, right? We know that increased interest rates usually means a slowdown in the stock market, which we've seen a downturn in the last 8 or 9 or 10 months or so since the Fed has been raising rates. Now, if you're an investor, don't fret too much because it's a great time to pick up undervalued stocks for cheap. Mutual funds, stocks, ETFs, all cheap. Now that's two things, guys, right? Have your stash of cash, be putting away money, but also don't sleep on the deals you can also find in the actual stock market right now. Guys, I just wanted to pop my head in and say, hey, keep your eyes open because the Fed rate hikes is about to really affect the jobs market here in America and unemployment on a larger scale. And this number of jobs available dropping is another key indicator that unemployment is about to go up. Do me a favor, subscribe to the channel if you're not already a subscriber, and be sure to turn your notifications on and stay tuned to this channel. I'm going to keep you updated. Hey guys, do me a favor, check out these other videos here where I discuss the state of the U.S. economy and give you more updates. Smash the like button for me and drop me a comment below, guys. Let's keep the conversation going. What do you think about increased unemployment? Good, necessary, or bad? Hey, the best person to take care of the old you is the young you. Guys, do me a favor, take care of yourself and take care of other people. Until the next video, peace.